Hi, good evening. This is Pastor David here. Welcome to another session of Easy Dharma for Difficult Times. And today is my second part of the combating anger and aggression sharing. Okay, so while we wait for more people, let me refresh the page and then we see how we go from there. My eyes itch. Okay, I don't see anybody yet, but I have a few questions that I will be answering. Not really a few questions, just two, a comment and a question. Before that, I'll go into a rehash of what was discussed, what was explained the last time. Okay, with regards to anger, it all boils down to this ego, this sense of identity, the self-cherishing I. So, I mean, this is what the textbook term is: self-cherishing I, or sometimes, more conventionally known as the ego that we all have. And what happened is, because we believe it's real, we believe it's solid, we believe it's there, and we need to protect it and we need to reinforce it. So what happened is, we go through various disturbing emotions, or rather negative qualities that we have. I mean, conventionally it's called negative qualities are like jealousy, like attachment and all that, and anger specifically, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to protect this ego, because perhaps a person, whatever this person say or whatever the person exudes challenges this sense of I, this sense of this ego. So that's why anger arises. This is how in Buddhism is explained where anger originally comes from. Okay, my grammar is not fantastic at the moment, but yep. Hello, Mr. Lam. Thank you for joining. Hello, David. Welcome again. Good evening to you too. Who else? Martin, Chong, hello. King Hoi. Oh, so many people already. Pastor Naral here. Nancy. I think Nank is Nancy, right? Pastor Hani, nice. You Sing, welcome. So what happened is, various situations can come about, whether it's a situation, whether it's a person, whether it's sometimes even an object, can create a situation where it challenges our sense of I. How does that happen? Because we don't like it. Usually anger arises because we don't like the experience of a person, the experience of an object, the experience of a situation. So we kind of like, when we reject it, anger arises. So the anger arises because of our false sense of identity, originally in Buddhism. So this is how it arises. So for the moment, when it comes to dealing with anger, it is not so possible to directly remove the self-cherishing I at the moment. If it's wonderful, if you can. But with anger, it would be better to go into the, the causes of it. Because usually it is to do with something, a specific situation, a specific person, usually it's a situation, and then we kind of relive it over and over again. All right? So hi, Karen. I hope you got the pronunciation right. And so what happens is, it is important to understand where our anger arises. Because usually anger, I'm not talking of the small moments where, someone irritates you. That is anger too, but it's a very small thing. When we get annoyed, when we get irritated by an annoying friend, annoying, housemate, husband, MCO, because we are stuck indoors and we irritate each other. So it's not a short moment of irritation. I'm talking of when something triggers us over and over again. Something that perhaps it could be something small. It could be it could be you don't like certain types of food, and when someone forgets and they forget that perhaps it's your husband or your wife, if they serve you a food that you don't like, and then you throw a huge fit because of that. And I'm talking of those type of anger for something small, because obviously it's not that particular situation. There's something underlying it. So I'm talking of the underlying reason why we get into bursts of outbursts of anger and frustration. And in Buddhism, there's also a quality of anger which is highly destructive. You know what that is? We lose control. It is one of the negative emotions that makes us lose control, and sometimes almost total control. Okay, so when we lose, that's why when we say, when we get angry, we lose our mind, we just couldn't control it because, it was just too much. And then we do things we regret later. We say things we don't mean. We hurt people, although that's not how we really think normally. So anger has this quality that makes us lose control of ourselves. And that is very bad. And it is said in the text that a moment of anger will erase lots and lots of good karma and merits. I would say good karma rather than merits, because what happens is merit is supposed to be it's dedicated towards enlightenment, so it's not possible to be removed, but conventionally it's said that in the text. Okay, so any questions, let me know. And today we will have a shorter session than normal, because just like yesterday. All right, so just if you have any questions, let me know. Then I'll talk about this a little bit more from the definition of Buddhism, and then we'll go into the questions or the statement that was mentioned the last time. I'll read it out, and then we will talk about it, and then we'll close for we'll close it, and then we'll for any Q&A questions from you guys, and then we can continue on and do dedication. So today will be a shorter session. We'll end about at 9:45, right? So we have Iman, Sharon, Jonathan. Welcome. Nice to see you here. Tata, Ann Ong, Ming Kiat, and Shu Ning. Thank you for joining. We are talking about combating anger and aggression. So the thing about anger and aggression is that I mentioned the last time, and I'm going to say it again, is that usually in Buddhism, conventionally it's said that, if you have all this pent-up frustration, you should vent it out. And in Buddhism, it is not recommended, because each time you vent it out, what happens is you're playing into the emotion again, and you're reinforcing the anger. Because basically when you vent out, you're meditating on negative qualities of a particular person, situation, or object. So when you meditate, your view of that person, the situation, or the object becomes stronger. Just like when you meditate, meditation is basically familiarizing yourself with. For example, that's why when we do meditation, we focus on the good qualities of, sometimes it's just the breath. If it's just a simple meditation on the breath, it could be the breath, and then we gain concentration of the mind. And along with it, many good quality, many benefits will arise. If you meditate on the mantra or the sound of the Buddha, what happens is you're tapping into the energy of the Buddha. You're accumulating merits, you're purifying karma, you're gaining the blessings of wisdom and compassion of the particular Buddha. Sometimes the Buddha has a particular ability to alleviate certain obstacles, and then you also gain that benefit as well. So, you could be meditating on the form of the Buddha. So what happens is you're purifying your bodily karma. You are gaining the causes to achieve the Buddha body. I mean, these are just basically different forms of meditation, and generally why I'm explaining it is because the mechanics of it is focus. So all of us, contrary to what you think, all of us are perfect meditators. Okay? It's just what we meditate on. So at home, we tend to meditate on something you don't like. And it's very easy for us to see that because we are very sharp. So we observe bad qualities of a particular person, and then we meditate on it. You know, get angry, and then when we vent out, it's a form of meditation. It's a form of contemplation. It's a form of recollection of why we don't like this person, this object, or the situation, and then we get angrier. Don't you notice when you get around with friends and we idle chatter and we talk negative things about a person, what happens is that view of that person we're talking about is reinforced, and then it becomes stronger. And sometimes we add spice to it. We add this and that, and you know the truth becomes distorted. So when it becomes distorted, we get angry, we get frustrated. When actually the original problem was not as big as how it was, was hyped up to be. Okay, I digress. I'm sorry, but that's how generally people get angry. That's how generally people become aggressive, because they have been seasoned meditators on negative qualities of people, situation, and objects. So when they're seasoned and having negative view, focusing only on negative things, and working themselves up into a frenzy all the time, so it's used. They get used to it. Sometimes it could be, this is one way. Another way is, I mentioned the last week, which goes into what a comment that was made. Pastor, how to get out of self-absorption? This is a question by Elsie Toy the last session, which is 2 days ago. What happened was, I talk about how some people can get angry, because Rinpoche gave a teaching about anger originates from not taking responsibility. So I was saying that some people, a particular scenario I can think of which fits this teaching that Rinpoche gave, is that a person who is careless, who is not aware of people or his surroundings, and doesn't do his work well, doesn't do or her work well. I'm not particularly targeting anybody, okay? So when I say he or she, it's not a particular person. So it's just an example. So it doesn't do the work well, doesn't speak well. When this person speak, it offends people, it offends someone. Many of the times unintentionally. So what happens is, this person who is not so aware, not careless, doesn't fulfill what he's as expected of this person. Perhaps this person is supposed to do a particular job, and this person doesn't do the job well. So everybody develops a view of this person. He's a failure. She's a failure. She's good for nothing. She's a user. She's jealous. That's why she's doing this. She's jealous of my success, of this person's success she's doing. So everybody has this particular view why this person doesn't do the job well, or behaves in a certain way that irritates people or annoys people, or So what happens is this view gets perpetuated. Okay, actually originally it originates because this person is a little more self-absorbed. All of us are self-absorbed one way or another, because we have this self-cherishing I. We have this ego that we constantly nurture and take care. So because we have this, so naturally we tend to look at our self-interest first. So what happens is, but there's some people who do it a little bit more They meditate on it on a constant day. So what happened is when everybody has this view and people's reaction, people's judgment, for the lack of a better word, becomes apparent for a lot of people surround this person. And eventually this person gets irritated and angry. Over time becomes angry. So if this person had taken responsibility of the job, of his or her behavior, of being more conscientious towards speech, towards what he says or she says, and how he say it and when it's appropriate, because this is the real world. We all live with each other. So what happens is there are certain things you can say and not say. Certain things you say will offend people. It happens. And we do, or from time to time, make mistakes. But some people do it more than normal. So what happens is, eventually this person gets isolated or segregated, and people stay away. So this person becomes angry, lonely, angry, and easy to lash out, because over the years it builds up. Anger builds up. If you don't solve the initial problem, it will build up, because each time it happens, you are reinforcing your anger when you don't solve the original cause of it. And it's usually not that particular moment when the person lash out. It may not be the actual cause. That moment, it could be something was said, or a face was shown, a particular expression was shown, or something was not given or not done right. Sometimes it's not just that moment. It's actually a build-up of a while. So that's what I'm saying. So in the last example, and that's why the question came about Pastor, how to get out of self-absorption of a person who basically to get out of self-absorption, you have to focus out. The catchphrase is focusing out. So how do you focus out? Focus out begins in theory with a thought. Okay, many people who are self-absorbed, when they're asked, why didn't you think of doing this? Why didn't you think of doing that? What their normal answer would be, oh, it didn't occur to me, I'm so sorry. Usually it's like that. So because it didn't occur, normally a normal person would normally behave in a way, would do it, would think of it and do it already automatically without being told. It's because they're very self-absorbed and they've been trained like that way. Perhaps, from young, whatever it is. So in order to jumpstart this focusing out, depends how deep their self-absorption is. If the person is young, then it's easier. Then it's a bit of usually young. Okay lah, you talk to the child, and then you if it gets bad, then you there's some punishments or some sort of reward when this person start to think of others. So it's a matter of to jumpstart that thought. It's a matter of awareness. How to develop this awareness is the key. So in practice, in the text, you say, it's quite, it's about developing compassion, about, meditating all beings as your parents, to equalize strangers, enemies and loved ones as equal, and then you think of them all as your, If I tell it to a normal person, they'll be like, oh, okay, it sounds very far-fetched and too grandiose of a method, but that is traditionally, that's what's being done. So what happens is, it's important to start to take account each day, I think. I mean, for us in Kechara, some of us, including myself, initially I also had that issue sometimes with being self-absorbed. And what happened was I had to think of people to help, I can do something. That there's this paid forward thing. I think there was a movie. Paid forward, it was a movie, right? No? I thought it was a movie. It was a movie. It was an inspirational movie in a sense that... okay, I cannot remember the plot of the movie, but all I remember was when what happens is it's a matter of training yourself to do something good for the day. It's important. I think there's a few ways you can do meditation, and you can contemplate on your actions, and take account each day. Meaning, contemplate on what you have done for the day, and how much you have benefited others. Focusing out meaning find various people to focus out. Rinpoche trained me in focusing out this way. Okay, let me get to it. Rinpoche trained me by, it's called new news. Okay, so every single day for quite a number of years, I have to write new news. And there's rules to this new news. I have to give 5 new news. Okay, and new news cannot be something that is in the news, as in CNN or the Star, or from cable news and all that. It cannot be that. New news cannot be about movies and all that. New news has to be about people, about observation of people, or what was heard or said or done. Okay, so it was a challenge initially. It was a huge challenge to focus on what's happening, and it's got to be interesting. That's what Rinpoche, I had to message Rinpoche every single day, 5 new news. So to train myself to focus out, to observe. Because what happens is, when you're self-absorbed, you tend to not be able to focus out. Okay, before I go on and on, let me see what questions there's come about. Chung has a good idea. Can start small by taking care of a pet, for example. Wonderful, especially for kids and adults, of course. Wonderful to take care of, especially animals, because pets, they do not necessarily reciprocate your kindness. So you're trained to give unconditionally, sort of unconditionally. They can wag their tail still if it's a dog, and they show affection. But it is wonderful to begin up to a certain level. Yeah, up to a certain level. It doesn't go beyond a certain level, because I know, up to a certain level, okay? So it's more of people. It's very important in dealing with people, how you deal with it. Because pets, you see, when you deal with pets, it's not the same when you deal with people, It's still not the same. Because when with people, you have to communicate, you have to talk, you have to observe. Before you can communicate and talk, you have to observe. Because the key to successful communication with people is observation, actually. It's observation of social norms. It's observation of people, what they need, how they are, how they feel. So people who are highly successful are highly attuned to observation of people's expression. Because most communication is not, Rinpoche has taught us before, most communication, a person's communication, and human beings' communication is non-verbal. I forgot the percentage, 75%?
It's more than that.
More than 75, 80, 90. The percentage of communication, non-verbal. What's non-verbal communication? Body language, facial expression, posture, that sort of thing. So most communication express non-verbally. So you catch my drift, you guys. If if you don't understand what I'm trying to explain here, please ask. And anyway, Chung also says this: what makes that person happy? Perhaps cooking for someone on a regular basis. Very nice, Chung. I know you do that, and you do it wonderfully. We miss your cooking, by the way. Please come and cook when this lockdown is over. Yeah, I forgot I can't remember what you cook. I just remember your food is good. Sorry, that was a commercial break. So for Rinpoche's way of training me was, for many years, he got me to write 5 new news, and the news has got to be observation of people, and to train me in observing people. And initially it's about what I saw, what they did, and then Rinpoche didn't like it, and he will ask me to do it again. Sometimes it's very, very shallow. Oh, this person went and collected the mail, something like that. Because I was, at the beginning, I was totally self-absorbed little young person. So, so initially, then Rinpoche always didn't like my new news, and he always asked me to redo it, 5 more new news. I was like, oh my God, that was tough, so I have to go around. Then eventually I start to get the hang of it and start to observe more and better at observation of people, and I could come up with things. And I remember the last 1 or 2 years, Rinpoche, some of the new news, not all the time, of course. Sometimes he had to ask me to redo it. He liked some of the news, and he would actually, go out to reach out to a particular person because of what I observe about this person, and or give gifts or things like that. So I thought that was an interesting way that Rinpoche had. I should write about it actually. New news. I didn't think about that. Yeah. So anyway, cooking is wonderful. Yeah, we can cook. You can start with cooking. You can start with taking care of a pet. Have a pet dog, pet goldfish. Rinpoche did that for us also. So for some of us, she bought a bunch of betta fishes and tanks and gave us all in Kechara, the younger people, to take care of them. And Rinpoche would do spot checks on the condition of our tank and the condition of the fish, whether they're healthy, whether they are swimming around. And Rinpoche had he had read up on fishes, and you can tell whether the fish is happy. Apparently, when they blow bubbles, they are happy. When normally they're just swimming around. When they blow bubbles, means they're happy, apparently. And also some other things lah. Basically, yeah, Rinpoche has done many things and to jumpstart our road to developing greater awareness and compassion for others. So these are some of the ideas that we can do, for those who are wondering how to get out of self-absorption. And all of us, to a certain level, are very self-absorbed. We are very concerned with few people in our lives, and everyone else is a label. It's a label of colleague. So there's a limitation of how much we care about this person, or a person who is a stranger, a person who is a loved one, a person who is a family member. So it's fine if a family member does certain things, but if anyone else, we would take total offense. Anger can arise because of this differentiation, this label we place on people. So Mr. Lam, I spoke about the first question, which is self-absorption, and then the second one is not really a question, is what Mr. Lam said the last session. He said this: just sharing. I used to come across a person a long time ago that when he lashes out, he will come back and apologize. He seems quite genuine. However, he keeps doing it. Lash out and apologize, and he keeps repeating. So I think, Mr. Lam, you're trying to ask me what I think about that. I think that in general, this person, it's too little for me to say much. But generally, people who cannot control their temper, what happens is they had something before that keeps reoccurring, and they have not solved that issue. As I said earlier, they have not solved the issue, but the issue seems to be not pertaining to that particular reason why he's lashing out. It's not. And usually, and Rinpoche had already said this, and which I mentioned in the last session, was that when people are angry or they lash out, it means they are deeply hurt themselves. Sharon said it, actually. Sorry. Sharon was, I think, paraphrasing what Rinpoche had said. So this person was probably had some issues, unsolved issues. To be honest, that's what I think. And that had been long-standing, really long-standing. So when he has built up to a point where he cannot control. In fact, in Tibetan tradition, they say it's become where the lung's gone off or gone in.
Wind off.
Wind off. Also, it's escaped.
It's not escaped. It's just gone haywire.
Okay. Apparently, because this person has deep frustration, anger for a long time about one particular issue or a few, and it is built up over the years that the winds in the body the wind is not literally wind, it's psychic energies in the body have become messed up. So any small trigger would trigger this person to lose their temper completely, and it's uncontrollable. So I think this sounds like this person has that. And there are there are medicines in the Tibetan tradition that you can take to help with the condition, and even incense, apparently. I think there's one by Roger Secrets that helps with the wind issue. And it helps to regulate the wind, but it doesn't solve the issue. Okay, the original issue or whatever created the anger in the first place needs to be solved, needs to be resolved. There must be some kind of resolution or acceptance of whatever it is. I can't say it could be anything. It could be, like the self-absorption issue, it could be the person has not taken responsibility of his actions in the past and not been proactive or being, done a job well or being successful. Some people have huge hang-ups about success in life, that when perhaps they did not meet their own, based on their own expectation, the success, they tend to be angersome, because it hurts to view oneself as a failure. And when they feel they have a failure, anger can build up for some people. Different people react differently to failure, but anger is one reaction to failure. All right.
A question from Whitney.
Whitney.
Yeah.
Okay, let me scroll Okay, Whitney. Good evening, Pastor David and everyone. Is self-absorption considered selfish? Self-absorption is selfish. It's just another word, but it's selfish is just a broader word. Self-absorption it's a person who is very into themselves. All of us are selfish. Normal people like you and me lah. We are selfish because we think about ourselves. You see, even when we think about ourselves, we can make other people happy too, because we have a particular agenda or particular way of getting along with people. But there are some people who is so selfish that they don't know how to get along with people. They don't know how to operate around people. They will say things that offend people. They would not know. They would do things that offend people, and many of the times without even realizing it. Okay, so that's what I mean by self-absorption. When they're so focused on themselves, their own pleasure. Sometimes some people, they're addicted to computer games, to phone games. And when I mean addicted, I mean really addicted, to the expense of, their jobs. I'm talking of a teenager to adult who has a job, who goes out and work, to the expense of their job, expense of their relationship. They'll rather play a computer game than spend time with their family, spend time with their loved one, and it's just taking hold. And so the pleasure of getting that, I don't know what you get out of a computer game, the winnings, you succeed into another level, the gratification. And sometimes, actually, computer games it's just an escape. You know what's escape? Escapism is when you're not happy with yourself. How can you be not happy with yourself? Perhaps you view yourself as a failure. Perhaps you're not happy in a particular relationship, in a particular job. You feel that you're not treated well, perhaps, and then you have serious issues that you do not want to face. Perhaps you don't know how to overcome it in your limited mindset. So what you do is you escape into games. Some people escape into computer games. Some people escape into drinking. Some people escape into womanizing. Those are marriage and relationship issues. Some people escape into gambling and various other forms of addiction. There are some really serious addictions. There are some minor addictions. All of us have some form of escapism. Some for us. I think these days our only form of escapism will probably be the YouTube and live streaming now. The TV, the idiot box. So but the thing is about addiction is that when it affects our relationship, it affects our quality of life, it affects our job, it affects our other things, then it becomes excessive, and that's where anger will grow. Because you know why? We don't like, we want to escape because we don't want to face ourselves. We don't want to face the issues, the problems. Actually, it's not about ourselves. It's the problems that we have. We don't want to face because it involves taking a certain risk or sacrifice that we are unwilling to do. So we don't want to take those steps to improve our lives, so we escape into something easier, more fun. Computer game is fun. TV is fun. The glass of beer is fun. Fun, what do you call it? Happy hour. Yeah, in Malaysia it's happy hour. Happy hour is fun. Gambling, genting is fun for some people until you lose all your money. Then you destroy your lives. So a lot of people, they spiral down, and then when they spiral down, they destroy their lives. They get angry. With more failure, this it just gets worse and worse. So they become angry, they become defensive, and people question you, how can you do that? Why are you this? When they forcefully take your addictions away, don't you get angry? The person will get angry. Okay, let's see. Hi, Jacinta. Good evening, and Patty sorry, I can't pronounce your name, Patty. And Chung asks this, what practice can a person who has anger as a primary issue do? What can a person do? That's the thing. There are practices you can do to help alleviate the anger. For example, Chenrezig, Lama Tsongkhapa practices. Okay, these are practices specifically targeting anger. Okay, because it's deities that embody compassion. So when you recite, when you engage in the energy of compassion, it releases, but it does not solve the issue at the moment. It will release, so we have a bit of clarity and we know what to do. And then when we know how to do it, we will solve ourselves. So the most important thing is to look into our lives, actually, to learn the Dharma and see how we are creating the causes for our anger. That's more important. We can do practices, we can do lamas, it's very powerful. Yeah, but alone in itself, if we do the visualizations and we do, eventually it will help us resolve it. But more quicker than that is to adapt, is to practice the Dharma. That will be a more effective way to know the Dharma, meaning to understand our issues, especially the teachings on Lojong, mind training rather, to analyze our mind and what is the cause of our anger, where does it arise. And I'm not talking, it's a self-cherishing mind, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where, for us specifically, where it originates from. Could be a lack of responsibility, it could be a character fault, it could be a childhood misfortune or a bad experience that we keep reliving it, and then each time we relive it, we reinforce the anger. It could be we view ourselves as a failure in life. So when we know what's the cause of the issue, then we can know how to deal with it. first, and then combined with Lama Tsongkhapa, Chenrezig practice, you can release your anger completely. On its own, if you want to deal with it directly, sometimes it's a bit difficult. So when you have help through practice and understanding the Dharma and applying the Dharma to analyze and find where is the real actual cause of anger, then it's a two-pronged attack, you know. Okay. Last question before I'm sorry, I forgot. It's 9:41 so fast. Okay, Chung asked this. Where is an anger-filled person heading to at rebirth? Anger, there are 6 realms in Buddhism. 6 places, 6 types of rebirth. Actually, it's more accurate, 6 types of rebirth. We can take rebirth again as a human being. We can take rebirth as a spirit, haunt a particular place. We can take rebirth. We can take rebirth as an animal, a spirit, and even in hell. There are places where we can take rebirth where it's a hellish situation. Hellish situation means we're in constant torment and pain and suffering, constant. So what happens is anger leads you there. The direct cause of anger leads you to hell. And hell is something that fire and brimstone kind of thing. There's in the Buddhist sense, there are 2 hells, hot and cold hells. It depends on the type of anger that we have. So it doesn't matter whatever form of anger, whatever form of hell you end up in. The thing is, the destination is there because we created the causes for it. Each moment we lose our temper, we create one cause. So I didn't want to bring it up in the beginning because this is scary for some people, and it should scare us, especially if we have a lot of temper and angry person, and we can control our anger. So it behooves us, instead of being, you see, in Buddhism, being scared is not something that means that we should avoid. There's a lot of teachings in Buddhism, about death and impermanence, about the 6 realms, about, karma and the retribution, and then, for some people it's like, why so, suffering, why so negative, and why so, it's meant to encourage us, because if we talk about all the beautiful things, we just remain the same. So the idea is, this fear is a good fear. It's a fear to motivate us to do something about it, because we know the end result is not going to be good. We learn that end result is not going to be good of our current situation, our current pattern of habit, pattern of, what do you call this? Habitual pattern. All right, so I've come to an end, and if you have no questions, then I'll do a dedication, and then we end for today. And I welcome any ideas for next talk. Perhaps we'll talk of compassion instead. All right. Thank you very much. No questions. Chanchu Sancho Rinpoche, Maki Panang Gyushe, Gaba Yama Mibayang, Gonen Godu Pewasho, Tony Tonga Rinpoche, Maya Panang Gyushe, Gaba Yama Mibayang, Gonen Godu Pewasho, Daso Chini Sabaki Wadi, Tanandroa Kun Lankampata, Jebo Jozo Lozon Dropa, Tamping Purindo Sa, She, Sho, Kewa Gundu Yana Lamada, Jumi Jogi Palalong Choche, Sadalangi on Terrachuni, Doji Changi Kopang Yotosho, Gewadi Yududa, Lama Sangi Jufuni, Chua Chika Malupa, De Salagopasho, Chuchu Jabo Songaba. Chuzonama Pewala, Gigi Shamajiwada, Tuni Maloshansho, Dada Shengi Duzundan, Josleteni, Gawa Lozon Drapa, Tampariva, Guji, Nimodella Santella, Nemago Intellection, Yes and Tatu Delapa, Conjoson Juniculo, Conjoso Ingojoso, Conjoso Tashisho, Jazun Lama Kutsuraton Shin, Nakachi Givada, Losantami Drumi Samsungi, Drummons Tatuni, Gush, Gangli Ravi, Coation Gam, Penen Dewa Malukion, Chenrez and Tenzin Casoi, Shavi City Badu Den, Guji, Hong Tombing Odromalupa, Dende Dalla Sadoso. Quorum Temple Lochunam gave us a shook then. So thank you very much and good night.